Good afternoon, everybody, to the New Ulm Heritage Preservation Commission meeting. It's Monday, October 20th. I'm going to call this meeting to order. And I'd like to have everybody read the minutes if you haven't had a chance to do that, and I'd look for a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All righty. We are going to go to design review. Eric Bodie. What can you tell us?
So you can see in your packet there, we've got a sign for review for Boco Real Estate, 500 North Broadway. It is already up. So it's, what you see there in the picture is what is there already. The big letters are 9 inches tall.
So the question is this something that is right proportion for this area?
It's zoned in R2, so the signage for that area could get up to 12 square feet, I believe it is, with some conditions. So it would be a little big for that, but being it is a business, we've talked about this amongst the staff, that the B1 limited business district were allowed up to 30 square feet.
I don't have a problem with the lettering. I don't have a problem with the sign itself, except the wooden part of it is going to be high maintenance and require painting. But as a resident that lives on and drives that street all the time, it kind of obstructs your vision a little bit, but it's too late for that now, isn't it?
Well, it's
Placed.
behind the property lines.
It is
Yep.
behind property lines.
Yep,
okay.
it is set properly to that.
Okay.
So the reason it's on our agenda is because
It's a historical property.
it's a historical property.
Correct.
And when they put up signage, are they required to come to us or,
Yeah,
okay. So
Yep.
we didn't get to see this prior.
correct. So my understanding is you're looking at the sign itself as to whether it goes with the guidelines of the signage regulations
Correct.
of the Heritage Preservation.
Correct.
And they're not requesting any partial payment or anything
He's not
with that,
requesting
just-
anything for it, no.
Okay.
It's black and white except for a little bit of red, so I don't think that it's going to interfere color-wise. It's
Do you know the size of the sign for sure? Is it like a 3x4 or is it more like a 30x50 or?
I think it's closer to 3.5 by 8,
Okay.
somewhere in that area.
So that would fall into less than the 30 square feet.
A 30 square
of-
foot, yep.
Okay, all right.
Well, I know that's his logo.
Correct. Yep.
I don't know. I don't know what I would present to have him redo it, but I mean, I think it looks okay.
It's okay.
But it would have been nice if he could have come maybe before. We could have made some suggestions, like where it's mounted. I agree. I don't really particularly
yeah.
think that's correct, but I don't know what else we could do, so.
Yeah, the only issue I had, I had kids whizzing by on bicycles when they came through, so, but if you think it's placed properly, then I guess there's nothing we're gonna do
Well,
about that.
it's behind the property line, and it's not in the corner. The corner, we have that 40-foot
Correct.
safety triangle, so that doesn't come into play
Okay.
on this.
I guess we've really never had any Broadway signage like this that we've had to deal with, so
Right.
Yeah. I would make a motion to accept the sign as presented.
can I have a second? Okay,
I'll
that's okay.
second it.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll go on to the next thing.
The next item in your packet is just some pictures of the Hauenstein Brewery, that little porch edition that was brought up at the last meeting. David Harmoning just sent in some pictures to show you what the finished product looked like.
That was very nice of him to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks better than.
Yeah, than he
presented, don't you
Yes,
think?
I
It
think
looks
so
very
too.
nice.
I
Yeah.
drove actually by there one day and I thought, wow, this looks pretty nice.
And I know he's very proud of what
Yep.
it turned out to be.
Yeah, it turned out really
Well, he
nice.
should be. He did a nice job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kudos.
it's very nice.
Right.
Yes.
All right, and the next item is the Kiesling barricade fence. As you may know, that we had a rodent infestation in the existing fence barricade of the wood pile. And so that has come down. The barrels, crates, wagon wheels, all that sort of items is stored in the basement of the Kiesling house.
Okay.
And the wood pile is stored somewhere with Park and Rec. So the question is, I know there was some talk about before the anniversary of getting some type of barricade mock-up made out of a resin or fiberglass
Correct.
of that type.
Yes.
In your packet, there's some information that, from back in 2012, of just the Kiesling Park Master Plan, and the barricade was talked about at that time. And then some information, I believe, from Dan Hoisington on that also, from an email.
Yeah, I had emailed Dan, and he said in his original plan that he had recommended a split rail fence to give a visual boundary between the parking lot and the property, and then securing just objects to that with wire that could come up or down. But being new, I don't know what happened in 2012.
Well, what happened is because of the anniversary, we decided to do a temporary mock-up. That was
Yeah.
not going to be our permanent. We were also looking into getting something made out of the resin, like he said, but it's
Oh.
not cheap. It's expensive.
No. But it's
So-
probably a grantable expense.
Right, so I think that's what we were going to pursue once we got past there. And I think it just kind of got tabled but now that this issue came up that it had to be taken down, the one that was there,
Are there any recommendations from Park and Rec? Since it's Park and Rec property, doesn't it go through Park and
they
Rec
would have
before it
some.
comes to us?
I think what we can do is probably do some pursuing as to what maybe it would be nice to just subcommittee with them and decide what kind of products we want to use. I'm sure it has to be something fairly maintenance-free, because we don't want to have a rodent issue again.
Correct, yep.
And then find out with some grant money, maybe between them and us, we could come up with enough money to put something up there more than just the barricade, just a fence. I'd like to see something shaped in boxes and stuff. And I thought we had pictures of some of the stuff that was available.
And I tried looking for that, and
I
I
can't
can't
find it.
find it either. And it was either our June or July meeting of 2012 that we had all this issue. And it would be bad, I know, removing some during the winter months. We do still have people coming during the winter months. They're coming here, they want to see that. I really truly believe that we should keep it up, but not in the form of having real wood or whatever the case may be.
I haven't driven past the property. Doesn't that abut like a wall, or is that back further?
It's back between the Kiesling house and the Lamplighter. right
So
along
there-
the, right
so
along the
there isn't
parking lot.
anybody isn't an issue falling off the
No.
wall?
No.
Because I can't I'm trying to remember, I know there's a drop off, but this isn't part,
Correct,
I
yeah.
think what
There's-
happened is people parked there from
oh,
the lamplighter, and I think some people drove farther than they should have
Oh,
and hit the
okay.
barricade, and
okay.
so it's a nice break-off for
Right, it- yeah,
people
it
not
separates
being
the
able to
party.
drive through there, if anybody would ever want to try to do that, you never know. But, I mean, I still think we should pursue something in a manner that would be much more maintainable. Yeah, this is what it looked like.
Yeah, I thought that not only was there pictures that I saw that were resin, but I also thought that initially there was talk of a cast, like a concrete cast thing. Did I
That,
read that incorrectly?
don't, I
I'd
don't
I'd
recall.
have to go, I can go back and ask Dan too, what he.
Okay.
Okay.
I know Maria from when she was working with the city at that part had some information at the time, but I could have swore we had some pictures of the resin.
Yeah, and I checked with her, and that's where I got the information that
Yeah.
we've got in the packet, and she couldn't find any other stuff, but she remembers it being talked about also.
Yeah,
that-
right.
Okay, so
Yep.
we're on the same page with that.
Right. Well, I think before we make any decisions now, we just have to start looking into, I can talk with Park and Rec and see if there's some collaboration that we can do to get this started.
Okay,
And then probably look at that as some future grant money that's going to be possible. So I think for now, we'll just keep it on the agenda
okay.
and go from there, if that's okay with everybody else. Do we need to vote on that?
I don't know.
No,
If
I
we're
don't
just gonna
believe you
table
have to, as long as you're tabling it, you shouldn't have to vote on it. And
All right.
you're going to need to you're going to talk to Park and Rec, and then a subcommittee would have to be
Right.
formed. Because
I wanna
Park and
find out-
Rec can't act unless somebody comes to them.
Right. I just want to find out who he would want to recommend to be on that committee.
Okay, Dan Hoisington and I also have meetings with Park and Rec, and I need to call them also, because I think I'm lining up something for November, but,
Do you want to take care of that then?
yeah.
Kill two birds with one stone, as they say?
Yeah, let me I'll double check with Dan and make sure that we're gonna confirm, and then I need to check with Tom to get on the agenda.
All right. And maybe Dan would have some information on some books of, or
Yeah,
companies that make these resin forms, because he's pretty knowledgeable in that type of stuff.
yeah. He also did mention, or in an email to me, where the park department stands on Claybar recommendations for rehabbing the house. Does anybody know anything about that?
I thought we were supposed to have some presentation on that, and I haven't heard anything lately.
I'd have to check with Park and Rec and see where they're at on that. I know
I
they're,
thought that was already a study, and then we were supposed to get presented with
The architect.
Well,
the
Clay-
architectural.
I believe Claybaugh would have presented that to Park and Rec already, because Claybaugh doesn't usually let things sit like that because they need, that's money. That-
right. I believe Park and Rec has got that
Has it covered that?
information,
Okay.
yeah.
Another thing to talk to Park and Rec about?
Yes.
Okay.
And I know they're looking into repainting the Kiesling house, but that also got brought up about if they're planning on doing something in the near future, do we want to spend the money on repainting?
Right, we
Or
fixed-
wait and,
We painted it enough to get by for the 150th, and then
Right.
after that, we just kind of left it go after that.
so that's another question too.
Yeah, if Claybaugh did present to Park and Rec, I'm sure that it's a pretty spendy package, because anything that would meet SHPO or State Historical Preservation standards would be actually probably stripping the building and doing the windows and everything at the same time.
I think they even
believe
talked
that's-
about the roof was going to be
Yeah, the
included
roof
in
was,
that,
yeah.
too. I think
Okay.
that was all supposed to be presented.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, we had a
Yes.
meeting about
Yeah.
it, but I don't know where it went from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
We
And
all
it's-
met downtown. Didn't we meet at,
At the Kiesling House?
no, not at the Keys, well, yeah, we had a little bit of tour there, but then we went over to the Grand,
Okay,
and then they presented more
yeah.
of what they were going to do, but I didn't know how much farther that got pursued, so.
Well, it would be nice if you're gonna write a grant, you're gonna have to roll it all into one package because it's gonna be a large grant and you're
All right.
going to.
Well, that would be a good project to start. If you can start getting some information on that, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, I will, and I'll get with Dan and Tom, so.
Perfect.
Let you know.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
We'll move on to city reports. Do you have anything for us?
Just that, the Homestead
Just
and the
those two
Keesling, yep,
things?
that's it.
I was asked some questions on some buildings downtown from Danny Warda, but just found out that we don't have any of that grant money right now, so we'll table that until there's more grant money on that. Otherwise, does anybody have anything else? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.